Hello and welcome to the Myschool channel. My name is Angela, and in this video we're going to continue tackling the English language JAMB question for the year 2024. Please stay with us, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Myschool channel. Like I said earlier, we're going to be tackling the English language JAMB question for the year 2024. So we're moving on to questions 176 to 200. Let's begin with question 176. Choose the option that best completes the sentence. The jury gave dash verdicts. Option A, its, B, its, C, his, and D, her. The answer to this question is option B, its. So you're making use of it without the apostrophe. When you're talking about the jury, you're referring to a collective of people. So you do not make use of the singular gender pronouns, but you make use of it, the neuter gender, to refer to this collective of people. So you also do not make use of the it with the apostrophe. Whenever you're using a possessive pronoun, you do not make use of the apostrophe. So option B, it, is the answer to this question. Question 177. Choose the option that has the same vowel sound as the one represented by the letters underlined. The word is mother. Option A, verb. Option B, mercy. Option C, about. And option D, jump. Now let's go to the board to transcribe the words. Alright, for the word mother, the vowel letters underlined is transcribed as it's the short sound that you have here. Then for the word verb, verb has the vowel sound the long sound. Then for mercy, mercy also has that long sound. And then in the final syllable, it has the short e sound. Then the word about, it has the short sound at the beginning. It's very short, about. So when a word begins with the letter A, just before a consonant sound, it's usually the short sound, just like in after, above, and so on and so forth. So about has that short sound. Then this vowel sound here is the ow sound. So you have about. Then we have jump, jump. So we have this sound here. So from the transcription of the vowel sound, we can see that about has that vowel sound represented by the letters ER. So let's go to the screen to mark our answer. So from the transcription of the vowel sound, we can see that option C, about, is the answer to this question. Question 178. Choose the option that has the same consonant sound as the one represented by the letters underlined. So the letter underlined is the Y in yesterday. Option A, jam. Option B, union. Option C, jump. And option D, umbrella. So let's go to the board to transcribe the consonant sounds. So for the word yesterday, it is pronounced yesterday. And the consonant sound that is there in the underlined letter is the Y sound. So please take note, this is the Y sound, not the J sound. We have the J sound in JAMB, and it is transcribed as J. It's a combination of D and J. Together they form the J sound. It is different from the Y sound. Then we have union here. Y is here as well. So it's transcribed as that. You have union. Then here we have jump, jump. Again, we have the J sound. Then here it's pronounced umbrella, umbrella. So there is nothing similar to the sounds that we've written so far. We just have the sound, the B sound. We have and we have the sound. So there is nothing similar. This one is designed to confuse you because of the U here and the union in option B. So from the transcription, we can see that union and yesterday, they have a similar consonant sound. When you pronounce it, you can even see the similarity. Yesterday, union. So from the transcription, we can see union and yesterday has the same consonant sound. Let's go to the screen to mark our answer. So from the transcription, we can see that option B, union, is the answer to this question. Question 179. Again, we have to choose the option that has the same consonant sound as the underlined letter. The word is king. The underlined letter is the letter K. Option A, quite. B, knee. C, sing. And D, night. So let's go to the board to transcribe the consonant sounds. So for the word king, the underlined letter is the letter K and it is pronounced K. So we have K here. So we have K here. Then for option A, it's pronounced quite. You have a consonant cluster at the beginning of that word, quite. Okay, so there are two separate consonants. Together they form a consonant cluster. Then for the next option, we have ni. The K in ni is silent, so you just have the n sound here. Then for sing, we have this sound at the beginning and we have ng at the end of the word. Then for the last option, it's pronounced night. Again, the K is silent. So this is why it is important to pay attention to the sounds of the words rather than the letters that make up the word. When you pay attention to the letters, you might get confused and you might choose either option B or D. So it's important to pronounce them. So from the transcription, we can see that option A, quite, has that same k sound as in the word king. So let's go back to the screen to mark our answer. So from the transcription of the consonant sound, we can see that option A, quite, is the answer to this question. Question 180. Choose the option that rhymes with the given word. The given word is moth. Option A, both. Option B, what. Option C, wrath. And option D, both. Now let's go to the board to transcribe each of the words. So for the word moth, it is transcribed as m. Then we have the R sound. Then we have f. This is pronounced f. Then we have both. Both is transcribed as b. Then we have the diphthong o. Then we have f again. So for the word what, it's transcribed as w. What. Then the word wrath is transcribed as r. Wrath. Then we have both. It's transcribed as b. O. So we have both. So from the transcription, we can see that for the first option, both of them end with f, but that's where the rhyme ends. Then for what, there is nothing, no similar ending consonant sound, so that word doesn't rhyme with moth. Then for wrath, we can see that both f and o is similar in both words. Then for the word both, there is no similarity between those words, so they do not rhyme with each other. So the one that has similar ending sounds are wrath and moth. So from this, we can see that the word wrath rhymes with moth. So let's go to the board to mark our answer. So from the transcription of the words, we can see that option C, wrath and moth, rhyme with each other. So this makes option C the answer to this question. Question 181. Choose the appropriate stress from the options. The stressed syllable is written in capital letters. The word is dedication. So we have to choose the option that has the appropriate stress pattern for the word. So it is pronounced dedication. So from the pronunciation, we can see that the stress is in K. Again, we can also use certain rules to help us guide us towards where the stress should be placed. So for words that end with I-O-N, the stress is usually on the penultimate syllable. So that is the second syllable from the last. First of all, let us divide the word dedication into syllables. So we have dedication. So we have 4 syllables. And since for words that end with I-O-N, the stress is usually on the penultimate syllable or second syllable from the last, we have the stress here. So again, when you pronounce the word dedication, we can feel the stress in the K. So this makes option D, dedication, the answer to this question. Question 182. The word in capital letters has the emphatic stress. Choose the option to which the given stress relates. We walked to the school. Option A, did we walk to the stadium? B, did we run to the school? C, did they walk to the school? And D, did we walk to the church? So the answer to this question is option B, did we run to the school? Remember that emphatic stress is the placement of greater stress on a particular word in an utterance. This is done for emphasis or for clarification. So this particular question is testing your ability to understand what this particular utterance is trying to clarify in the question that has been given by the speaker. So the question that should correspond with this utterance is the one that clarifies a mistake that has been made in the question. So you are looking for an option that has a word that is different from the word given in capital letter. So that is option B. Other options have walk, but this one has run. So the person who asked this question made a mistake by saying, did we run to the school? but the person is clarifying by emphasizing walked to make sure that the person understands that no, we did not run to the school, we walked to the school. So this makes option B, did we run to the school, the answer to this question. Question 183. Again, we are to look for the option to which the given stress relates. My mother is expected to be back by this time tomorrow. Option A, who is expected back by this time tomorrow? B, is my mother expected back by this time next month? C, is my mother assumed back by this time tomorrow? And D, is my mother expected gone by this time tomorrow? So the answer to this question is option B, is my mother expected back by this time next month? Again, this particular utterance is correcting a mistake that has been made in the question. So you are looking for the option that has a different word or phrase from the word that is given in the utterance. So that is option B. While other options have tomorrow in their question, option B doesn't. It has next month. So this utterance is clarifying a mistake made in the question. So this makes option B, is my mother expected back by this time next month, the answer to this question. Question 184 to 193 comes with a language register passage. So I'll advise you to go down to the link in the description below. This takes you to my school website where you can access the language register passage, or you can pause the video as soon as the passage is displayed on your screen. Please do not forget that the aim of the language register passage is to read, to understand, to pinpoint the main ideas, and then get back to the passage. Now to question 184. Select the option that fills the gap labeled 6. Option A, deviations, B, aberrations, C, criticisms, and D, deviants. So in order to find out what can best fill in that gap, we need to read the sentence in which it is used. One way in which we come to see monolingual standard languages as the norm and dash from the imagined monolingual standard language as aberrant. So from this particular clause, we can see that they are talking about how there is a particular way in which we see monolingual standard languages. We see them as the norm, as the standard, but we also see things that deviate from that as aberrant, as something that is not the norm, it's not the standard, it's something that is somewhat of a taboo to use a language that is not standard. So that's what they're trying to refer to here. So we're looking for the word that refers to something that is not the norm, and that is deviations. So deviations are things that depart from the norm, that are different from the norm, the standard in a particular society. Aberrations is similar, but the word deviations is the word that is used most of the time to refer to language that is different from the standard. So language different from the standard are called deviations. So the answer to this question is option A, deviations. Do you know you can take practice questions with our simulated JAMB CBT past question? All you need to do is to go down to the link in the description below. This takes you to the Myschool website, where you can download the Myschool mobile app for your Android devices and the Myschool software for your laptops and computers. Please go ahead and start practicing. Now to question 185. Select the option that fills the gap labeled 7. Option A, repertoire, B, word, C, idea, and D, statements. So again, in order to find out the word that best fills in that gap, we have to read the sentence in which it is used. So one way in which we come to see monolingual standard languages as the norm and deviations from the imagined monolingual standard languages as aberrant. And remember, each individual dash is a deviation, but repertoires characterized by greater deviation as problematic is through the close association between language and place. So in this particular very long sentence, they are talking about how sometimes we often see monolingual standard languages as the norm, and we consider deviations aberrant as taboos. But it is important to note that individual, in this case repertoire, when they're talking about repertoire, we're talking about a set of skills in a particular field. In this case, we are talking about a set of skills in a language. That means the set of language resources that we have at our disposal, that each individual has at their disposal. So they are talking about how our idea of how language should be is different at the individual level. Each individuals have different ways of using language that might differ from the standard. So that's exactly what they're talking about in this particular sentence. So they're saying that we should remember that each individual repertoire is a deviation, but you can also see the fact that repertoires is used in that sentence. That means that it is repertoire that they're talking about here. So it is a deviation, but repertoires characterized by greater deviation as problematic is through the close association between language and place. So this makes option A, repertoire, the answer to this question. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please don't forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos. Question 186. Select the option that best fills the gap labeled 8. Option A, write, B, set, C, conjure, and D, let. So again, we have to look at the way in which the gap is used in that sentence. You would have seen maps that map languages into territory. You probably can dash in your mind a map of the Americas where almost all of North Africa is dashed for English except for a bit of French in East Canada. So in this particular sentence, they are talking about how we can visualize in our mind a map of the Americas, how the language is mapped in the Americas. So they're talking about visualizing something in your mind. So when you're visualizing something in your mind, you are conjuring up an image in your mind. So option C, conjure, is the answer to this question. Question 187. Select the option that best fills the gap labeled 9. Option A, known, B, coded, C, accepted, and D, considered. Again, we have to look at the sentence. So you would have seen maps that map languages into territory. You probably can conjure in your mind a map of the Americas where almost all of North America is dashed for English. So in this particular case, you are looking for something that expresses how regions are divided based on the language that is used. So it is the word coded that you use in this particular case. So when you are talking about how regions are divided in the map for a particular criteria, in this case, the criteria is language. They are dividing the regions based on how language is used. You make use of coded. So you can conjure up a mind of the Americas where almost all of North America is coded for English. That means that particular region, North America, is coded for English. So English is spoken in that particular region, except for a bit of French in East Canada, and so on and so forth. So the answer to this question is option B, coded. Question 188. Select the option that best fills the gap labeled 10. Option A, havens, B, colonies, C, owls, and D, pockets. So the answer to this question is option D, pockets. Again, we have to look at the way it is used in that sentence. So they talked about how you probably can conjure in your mind a map of the Americas where almost all of North America is coded for English except for a bit of French in East Canada. More than half of Central and South America will be coded for Spanish. The other big chunk, Brazil, for Portuguese, and 3 tiny dash of English, Dutch, and French. So here they are talking about how there are little isolated places where things are different, where there is deviations from the norm. So you are making use of pockets. Pockets is used to refer to little isolated regions in a particular area where things are different from the norm. So it is pockets that should best fill in this gap. Option D, pockets, is the answer to this question. Question 189. Select the option that best fills the gap labeled 11. Option A, national, B, common, C, local, D, regional. So the answer to this question is option A, national. Again, we have to look at the way it is used in the sentence. So the other big chunk, Brazil for Portuguese, and 3 tiny pockets of English, Dutch, and French, where the states of Guyana, Suriname, and French Guyana are located in addition to the maps based on the dashed language of a state. You will be able to find more fine-grained maps that map traditional minority languages into a particular territory. So here they are talking about the language of a state. So when you're talking about the language that is used by a state is a politically organized group of people with an organized legitimate government. So you are talking about a politically organized group, so we are referring to a national language, a language spoken by a particular state. It is national that should best fill in that gap. Option A is the answer to this question. Question 190. Select the option that best fills the gap labeled 12. Option A, interactive, B, discursive, C, intuitive, and D, reclusive. So the answer to this question is option B, discursive. Again, we have to look at the way it is used in the sentence. Language maps do not only inform us about global language distributions, they also fulfill a dash function. They establish a dash between language and territory as a central and normal way to think about language use. So here you are talking about how to think about language use, how you can express your thoughts, your ideologies about a particular language. So this means that the language map performs a discursive purpose. That means they help to shape discussions, and ideologies about language. So, option B, discursive, is the best option to fill in that gap. Option B is the answer to this question. Question 191. Select the option that best fills the gap labeled 13. A, plan, B, wedge, C, bridge, and D, link. The answer to this question is option D, link. Again, we have to look at the way it is used. Language maps do not only inform us about global language distributions, they also fulfill a discursive function. They establish a dash between language and territory as a central and normal way to think about language use. So we are talking about how these language maps help to connect language with territory. So we are looking for a word that helps to express that connection, and that word is link. It links language to territory. So it serves as a link between language and territory. Option D is the answer to this question. Question 192. Select the option that best fills the gap labeled 14. Option A, principle, B, concept, C, perception, and D, technique. So the answer to this question is option A, principle. Again, we have to look at the way it is used in the sentence. The territorial dash is foundational to most thinking about linguistic justice because it's dash linguistic legislation. So here we are talking about the territorial principle. So this is a common terminology used to refer to the rules and standards that come up as a result of examining how language is distributed across a particular area. So it is the territorial principle that is the foundation to most thinking about linguistic justice and also linguistic legislation. So option A, principle, is the answer to this question. Question 193. Select the option that best fills the gap labeled 15. Option A, undergird. Option B, undermines. Option C, underestimate. And D, underserved. So the answer to this question is option A, undergirds. So again, we have to look at the way it is used in the sentence. The territorial principle is foundational to most thinking about linguistic justice because it's dash linguistic legislation. So something that serves as a foundation, as a support for another thing, is something that undergirds it. So undergirds is the best option to fill in that gap. It helps to explain that it is this territorial principle that is foundational to most thinking about linguistic justice because it supports, it is the foundation for linguistic legislation. So option A, undergirds, is the answer to this question. Question 194. Choose the option that best explains the information conveyed in the sentence. She is traveling to Abuja. She will return next week. Option A, she's traveling to Abuja to return next week. B, she's traveling to Abuja but returning next week. C, she's traveling to Abuja to returning next week. D, she's traveling to Abuja and returning next week. So the answer to this question is option D, she's traveling to Abuja and returning next week. So we're looking for a sentence that best expresses the information conveyed here. So the only sentence that best explains that is option D, because when you make use of and, you are not adding any extra information to the sentence. You are just adding one sentence to the other. You are joining one sentence to the other. But for the other option, when you make use of to, for example, she's traveling to Abuja to return next week. You are saying that the reason she's traveling to Abuja is so that she can return next week. So it's adding an extra layer of information to that sentence. And then option B, she's traveling to Abuja but returning next week. You are adding an extra layer of information as well because you are showing a contrast. Although she's traveling to Abuja, she will be returning next week. So that's more information you are adding to the sentence. It doesn't convey the information here. So the only sentence that does convey the information here is option D. She's traveling to Abuja and returning next week. Do you have a question? Please feel free to ask your question by going down to the link in the description below. This takes you to the Myschool website where you can ask your question and solution will be provided to you within a short period of time. Now to question 195. Again, we have to select the option that best explains the information conveyed in the sentence. Our school field is bigger than yours. Option A, your school is bigger than ours. B, your school is not bigger than ours. C, our school field is as big as yours. And D, your school field is not as big as ours. So the answer to this question is option D, your school field is not as big as ours. So when you say our school field is bigger than yours, right, it is similar to your school field is not as big as ours. It means your school field is smaller than ours. Our school field is bigger than yours. So option D best explains that information conveyed in the sentence. Option D is the answer to this question. Do you have a better explanation or solution to any of these questions? If you do, go down to the comment section below, indicate the question number and solution you'd like to share. Question 196. Again, we have to select the option that best explains the information in the sentence. The manager told his workers to call it a day. Option A, they were told to continue working. B, they were told to intensify their efforts. C, they were told to stop working. And D, they were told to pause for a few minutes. So the answer to this question is option C, they were told to stop working. So the phrase to call it a day means to end work for that particular day, to stop working for that particular day. That is what it means, to call it a day. So the option that best conveys the information in that sentence is option C, they were told to stop working. That means they should stop working for that particular day. They were not told to pause for a few minutes. When you are pausing for a few minutes, it means you are going to continue work during that day. So option C is the answer to this question. Question 197. Again, we have to select the option that best explains the information in the sentence. The teacher believed her students were equal to the task. Option A, the students were young and weak. B, the students were hardworking and dedicated. C, the students were not adequately prepared. And D, the task was very difficult to carry out. So the answer to this question is option B, the students were hardworking and dedicated. When someone is equal to the task, it means that they have the skills, they have the capability necessary to complete any challenge. So the option that best explains that is option B, the students were hardworking and dedicated. Someone who is hardworking and dedicated means they have that ability to complete a task or challenge. Other options have negative connotations, and being equal to the task has a positive connotation, and only option B has that. So this makes option B, the students were hardworking and dedicated, the answer to this question. Question 198. Choose the option opposite in meaning to the word or phrase underlined. There is no likeness between him and his brother. Option A, unlikeness. B, likelihood. C, dissimilarity. And D, affinity. So the answer to this question is option C, dissimilarity. The word likeness means similarity or resemblance. That means there is no similarity or resemblance between him and his brother. So the opposite of that would be dissimilarity. That means a lack of similarity or resemblance. So there is no lack of similarity or resemblance between him and his brother. So it may feel like option A, unlikeness, is the answer to this question, but please note that the word unlikeness is not a word. So we have the word unlikely, as in something is unlikely to happen, but there is no such thing as unlikeness. So the opposite of likeness would be dissimilarity. Option C is the answer to this question. Question 199. Again, we have to choose the option opposite in meaning to the underlined word. Where is the wealth the rich man accumulated in his lifetime? Option A, gather. B, squandered. C, amass. And D, piled up. So the answer to this question is option B, squandered. So to accumulate something means to gather up something over a long period of time. So the opposite of that would be to spend something recklessly. That is what squandered means. So squandered is the opposite of accumulated. Option A, C, and D are similar in meaning to the word accumulated. It is only option B that is the opposite in meaning to that word. So option B, squandered, is the answer to this question. Question 200. Again, we have to select the option opposite in meaning to the given word. The cleaner admires the girls for their neatness. Option A, scorns. B, accepts. C, sanctions. And D, regards. So the answer to this will be option A, scorns. The word admires means to respect someone or to hold someone in high regard. So the opposite of that would be scorn. That means to treat someone with contempt or disrespect. So it will be the opposite of admires. Accept and regards are similar in meaning to admires, although there is slight differences between them. The word sanctions is not an exact opposite of the word admires. To sanction someone means to punish them. So it is not opposite in meaning to that. The opposite of the word admires is option A, scorns. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.